Cool. Today, I was gonna ask about this one. Have you guys done this one? Has anyone have any questions about this one? Were you guys able to see the results? The results.
Yeah, I couldn't make two of them.
You couldn't make two of them?
Yeah, I just don't
Okay.
remember. Maybe I just even didn't save this project, but
Cool.
yeah, I
So
had a problem with the last. Yeah.
with the last one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how about we can quickly go over and then try to do it together.
Yeah, it
That
was great.
first I need to mute my phone. Cool. So we don't have combine anymore. And if you guys would like to reach out to the data, this is the data. And we are still in the same repo. Okay. It's under my name, data manipulation countries. I'm sharing it in Zoom chat for whatever it's worth. Cool. So all right, we are able to see the data. It depends on how you export it, right? We're exporting it like this, export data, constant data. If you are exporting as a default, then you can use it without the curly braces over here, but that's fine. Cool. First of all, in index.html, we have tables, right? And the specific tables that we worry about is right here. I mean, this the result columns. Okay, so basically these guys right here. Actually, question one, yeah, these guys right here. So every row has ID Q1. So I want to get this like this. Okay, so if you guys just open up the clone it repo, if you haven't cloned yet, just go to this one and clone it. And let me see if I have git add, git commit, git push. This is what you guys see. Okay, so basically we are reaching out to the results rows, right? Results. This guy is right here. These results are columns. This is the result for question one, question two, etc. Okay. What does question one does? It's asking for total population. So data, our data contains a lot of information. Okay. 194 or 200, something like that, the countries in there. What specifically we are looking for is the population data, population key. For each column, we have population, and it's a number, okay? Since you guys remember from getting the total sum of numbers in an array, okay? What we need to do is just to run the for loop. Okay, we need to run a for loop, and it's going to be data.length. Okay, so specifically what we are looking for in our data is, sorry, we're looking for this guy right here. For instance, if I say console.log, the data that data I dot population. Okay, so every single country has a population, so we need to get the sum of it. First of all, I need to create total population. Okay, you can either make it a 0. Of course, it has to be 0 because we're taking the sum of it, right? If it was a multiplication, then we should have started from 1 because you cannot multiply any number to 0. It's going to be always 0. So right here, what we can do here, total population is equal to total population plus data I population. Okay, total population is 0. And the second representation for this one, as you guys already know it, just put plus equal to. And we will get the population. All right, that's the population. The way we can represent this, with the way we in order to put these commas in between to represent the thousands, we do have something called to local string. Okay, it's a built-in function right here. If you, as soon as you put the dot, this to local string will help us to put commas in there. Okay, if I go back to right like this. Right. The only thing left for us is just take this one right here. Okay, and then since we have Q1 already, all right, so Q1 dot inner HTML and paste the result. That's for question 1. Number of independent countries. Number of independent countries. So similarly, we have total population. Let me just copy and paste right over here. I'm gonna just put it Q1, and this one I'm gonna name it Q2, and paste it over here. This one is for question 1. So total number of independent countries. So basically, total independent countries. Similar way, we're going to start from 0, and then as we find independent countries, we will just sum it up. Okay, we'll just do it plus plus. So what we are looking specifically for here, we are still looping through the data, and then right over here we need to put if. Okay, if. So basically, we have a key called independent, and not every country has an independent true. Right, some of them are false. They're not independent. They're dependent to other countries. So because of that, it's a Boolean. We can compare that value. So what we can say, data I that independent. Okay, right. So it's a true or false. Okay. It's asking for number of independent countries. Basically, we're looking for the value that contains true. If this one is true, then increase my total independent value. Okay. If this one is true, then increase my total independent value. And what we're gonna do here, instead of doing data population, we just do 1 or just plus plus. Okay. And then the only thing left for us is just take this one right here and inner HTML instead of total independent countries. Okay, and we don't need this to local string because it's just a limited number of total independent countries. Okay, as soon as I save it, I have 194 independent countries. All right, I'm going to use a for loop again for my question 3. Question 3. In this case, number 3, population of the country with CCN 3, 275. Right, so it's asking for the population of the country with CCN 3, 275. Again, I need to create a variable. Let's say CCN 3, 275. Okay, you can either leave it as undefined or null, whichever you would like to prefer. Okay, so again, I need to go through the data again, original data, and it's asking for CCN 3, 275. Every country has CCN 3, right? CCN 3, and it's a number. What I can do here, if data I dot CCN 3, okay, is equal to 275. Right, 275. And then I can just reassign CCN3, the variable over here. Whatever I find that country's population. As soon as I reach to that point, CCN3 275, that is my data, and that data contains what? Population. I'm just grabbing that population out of this data, which matches this condition, if condition, and I found my data. Okay, and it is similar to like this, which is a very long number. For that, we're going to be using toLocale string again, and that is question 3, and that is 4,803,269. So which country is that? Console.log data I that name common, I guess. No. Oh, name and common. Okay, data I name they have common. That is Palestine. Of course, this number is not updated. It's not up-to-date data right now. Okay, maybe it is, maybe not. Who knows? Cool. So question 4. Of course, I will be needing this. For loop, right? So let me just type a question 4.inner.html. Question 4, number of countries that have more than 2 capital cities. Number of countries. As soon as it said number of countries, which means that we need to create a variable initially that is 0. Okay. Let's just call the countries with the multiple capitals is equal to 0. Right. So again, we need to go through the data and based on the if statement, what can be in here in if statement? So as I remember that some of the countries, they don't have a capitals stored in here. Okay, for instance, they don't have capitals. It's either undefined on this side, or most of the time it's array. Right? Most of the time it's array. So we need to ignore those that's undefined. Ignore those that is undefined. To do that, we'll just do what? Data I dot capital. Okay, not equal to undefined. And data I dot capital dot length. Okay, most of the time, this is array. Capital, the value of the capital key is array. It's not a string. It's always it's almost. I mean, sometimes it's undefined, but most of the time it's array. Okay, that's why we rely on the length of this capital array. So basically what we are looking for, number of countries that have more than 2 capital cities. Basically, if the length is bigger than 1, okay? If it is less than, if it is equal to 1, basically less than 2, ignore that country. So we're looking for the number of countries that have more than 2 capital cities. And right over here, we can console log those countries. Okay, console log. Same thing over here. Let me just console log over here. Run it. So it's South Africa and Palestine have more than 2 capitals. Okay, so what we can do here? Countries, multi-caps, just plus plus. As soon as we find that country that matches this statement, all right, if else, if condition, then we will increase this counter is multi caps. And as a result, we'll just display the result in our question 4. There's only 2 countries.
Azamat, can you
Yes.
please tell how to find some word in our like data JavaScript by some keyword? I saw we can open something and write the word we need.
We can use includes.
I mean, it's about the VS Code application. How find the word what we need. Есть строка поиска, можно ввести слово, и он находит это слово в нашем проекте. Условно у
Oh,
нас
right here. You can use this one right here.
just here.
Yes. For instance, if I say countries, it will find all the files
Oh.
that contain countries.
Oh, okay. I didn't try. Okay, thank you.
Every single places they have countries. All right, question 5. All right, question 5. Index of country Liberia inside countries array. So now, this is the name of the country, and the name is located under name and common. Okay, name and common. So we have to reach out to data I that name that common. Okay, is equal to Liberia. Right? So we can either console out or we can just create country index is equal to, let's just say it null or whatever you would like to put. Okay, you can keep it as empty string, that's fine too. But eventually we're going to be changing it. So as soon as you find that country, what do we need here? The index. The index is what? Okay, the index is just I. So we say country index is equal to I. As soon as you find the name that matches Liberia, we need that index for that loop. Okay, so country index. That's number 2. All right, so let's check the data. So this is first country. Second country is Eritrea, right? 0, 1, and 2, Liberia. 0, 1, 2. In index 2, we have country called Liberia. Question 6. Country that has maximum population. Country that has a maximum population. We did some similar example about finding the maximum number inside an array of numbers. Okay, we did it. So we can create max number or maximum population country, right? Is equal to, when we try to find the max, what do we start from? Usually the max number?
Minus.
Minus infinity. If I try to find the minimum, I start from plus infinity. Okay, so of course we need the loop data.length, and I need to check if maximum population country, right, it is less than, of course, every single data I has what? Population, right? If max population country is less than the first country that we meet, right, in the first loop, I0, first country, in that case, if it's bigger, if it's yes, then we need to grab this population and assign it to maximum population country. data I population. But of course, it's not asking for what? What's the maximum population? It's asking for the name of the country. Okay, we'll try to get both of these information, the name and what's the population. So for the name, let's just create, let country name is equal to, just keep it empty, undefined. Okay, so basically, we will do the same thing over here. As we are assigning data I population, okay, we will change the country name as the maximum population country changes. Okay, as instead of finding the maximum population country and then going through the data again, and the loop through it and compare the maximum population country and find the name, we can definitely do that, right? We can definitely do that. But instead of doing that, why don't we just go as we find the maximum data population, as we assign it, we can assign the country name too, since we have it over here. We can assign the country name too. Okay, so at the end of the loop, if this maximum population country is the maximum, then the country name would be for that data, right? And if the remaining population is less than, then we're not going inside the if loop, if block. Okay, so as the maximum population country changes, when we reassign the maximum population, we are also reassigning the name for that country name. As a result, what do we get here? Maximum population country dot to locale string again, because it's going to be a very long, and then country name. As you guys can see in the console right here, it's a China, 1 billion, yada, yada, yada.
Azamat?
Yes.
Yeah. When we grab something from data JavaScript, when we grab some value, like for example, you created the variable and made it equal to some value. So does he save his type of object when we grab it?
Absolutely, yes. So when we do this one, this is equivalent to what? Undefined.
Undefined.
Yeah. But if you don't put anything, that's undefined. But if you put null specifically, then the country name is the type of null. Okay, or object or array. But it doesn't matter. We're not initializing any value because we are changing it right away.
If it was undefined, he will put the type of object what was in data JavaScript.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, cool. So is this part right here clear, guys? I mean, the second option would be we need to run for loop again, okay? But in this case, we found the maximum country, right? Maximum population country. So what we can do here, okay, and then we can assign this one like this. If maximum population country is equal to data I dot population, then display the population. So we're not doing that. We're just avoiding this the second for loop. Okay, we're just avoiding the second for loop. We're just putting this country name, data I name that common inside the first if block. Right, so it's asking for the name, question 6, of course, inner HTML. Okay, country name. Now I forgot to mention one more thing, one more way to display the data in the UI. The first one was inner HTML. As you guys know, the difference between inner HTML and inner text. Okay, inner text. All the same thing. But the third one is text content. Text content. Inner text and text content will be exact same thing, but inner HTML, if you would like to put some HTML tags, you can do that. Okay, question 7. Question 7. All right, cool. So let's just keep it as simple like this. Question 7. It is asking for an object. So let me create an object. Let's just create this const. Okay, constant object. All right, so we're gonna loop through it. What we are looking, frequency count of all countries for each continent. There's multiple ways to achieve this process. Okay, what we are looking for is continents. Every single country belongs to a continent. Okay, so if I take a look into the first one right here, continents. So basically, array, we have array data, and inside the array we have objects. And inside the objects we have continents, and continents is also an array. And this is this goes for every single country in this data. Okay, every single country has continents, and that is an array. And some countries contain what? Two continents they belong to. So there's the 2 strings. Okay, for that, what I think is that there might be some other ways, efficient ways. Some questions? No questions, okay. There might be some efficient ways to resolve this, to solve this question 7. But one that I came up is just using inner loops. Okay, nested loops actually. Nested for loops. Okay, so when we are looping through this data, I am more focused on this continents array. Okay, so for that, inside my for loop, every single data, as we said, this country, right? Every single data contained a continents object, a continents key, and that is an array. So in the first loop, I would like to create country continents, okay, and that is an array. Data I that continents. Okay, this is an array. Every single country has this key, this property, and it is an array. Okay, so for each loop, I would like to loop through this country continents. Again, another for loop, right? But in this case, instead of I, we're going to put J. So J will start from 0 and it will call country continents dot length. We don't know how many continents this country belongs to. And then J++. Right? In the first loop, we go into the first country and we check continents. And then we loop through this continents array. Now, when we loop through it, we need to check if this, right? If this, the first one, for instance, in this index, Europe, is this Europe is in my object? We'll check. If it is in the object, then increase the count by 1. If it's not in the object, then make the count initially as 1. Okay. So in my nested inner loop, I will have if statement right here. If country continents I, okay, that's my thing. But how do we check if my object contains that key? Right, one of the best options to check if the object contains that key would be object that has own property. Object that has own property. It will check if, for instance, if I put age 4 console.log object that has own property age. Okay, age is not defined. Okay, so it has to be string age. That's true, right? If I put name, do I have name? It's taking quite long. All right, maybe because of this for loop, let me just ignore this for now. Am I having a connectivity issue? Not sure why it's not working.
Maybe you have to comment your for loop. Maybe he's doing something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's frozen. It's only working fine. Interesting. Let me restart my live server. Interesting. This one is still there. Live server reloaded. And since I don't have a name key, it says false. All right, so let me bring back my for loop. All right, and we can just say empty object. And if object has own property, I, right? If it contains, then just whatever inside that object increase by 1. So what we can do here, object, of course, we have to reach out to the keys dynamically. right? So country, continents, I, plus plus. What happens if I don't have that country or continent? Initially, it's going to be empty, right? So basically, we'll skip this part. I mean, this if block. We'll go in the first loop. It will straight go to else statement. So since we don't have anything, what we want to do is we need to reach out to that key inside our object, all right? And then just assign the value 1. In the next loop, if it finds, right? If it finds, first of all, let's assume that in the first loop, it was Europe. Okay, it was Europe. So basically in the object, it will put Europe. Since it has nothing in there, we're going to be doing this one, right? The value will be 1. Okay, if let's assume that in the next, right here in the nested loop, in the next J1, we come over here and check it again. All right. Do we have the object has Europe again? Okay. Yes. Then increase this number 1, 2. All right. And then it will keep going until it finds all the continents for each object, for each country in the area. So our object will look like
Yeah, line 115. Can you
150.
Yeah, 115. I think you have to remain second I to J.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Ooh. That's a good catch. That's a good catch. Thank you so much. That's a good catch. All right, cool. All right, we do an object right now. Okay, cool. So instead of course, instead of putting I was supposed to put J, right? I apologize for that. So because we're looping through the nested for loop, and we have to put a J. And because of that, I mean, we're looking for this array, right? That array contains continents. And for each index will be J. And now we have all cool. Maybe instead of has own property, object has own property, country, continents, I. Yeah, so instead of I, right here too. Oh my goodness, having issue with I and J, mixing it up. And now we should have all the information. So how do I display the object in the UI? Can I just do object? It's not going to be displayed as it is. Okay. So in the README file, you check over here. I put some steps to display. All right. What we can do here, we can use this pre-tag. We'll just copy and paste it right over here. First, we need to JSON stringify, convert this object into a string. All right. And then this is basically indentation. That's how it indents the objects. Right. So you can either display it as a text content, inner HTML, or inner text. Okay, so yeah, of course, text content would not work. That is from copy paste from the last thing. So it has to be inner HTML because we are using another HTML tag as a value for this data. It looks weird because all of these columns are centered. Right, all of the columns are centered. We can come down here Just change this guy with this guy. Text align left. And again, you guys will see a lot of questions with the frequency count. It is basically called frequency count. Okay. Let's say you have an array. An array contains 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay. And then they want you create an object that contains, for instance, how many ones do we have? We have, let's say, in example, a fake, okay, 10 ones. How many twos do we have? Or 4 twos, okay? Something like that. So if for that, you can definitely use for loop, or we do have reduce higher order function, which is much easier to accomplish this type of frequency count. We can use reduce higher order function, but of course that's going to be next Wednesday.
Azamat, can you please explain? I didn't understand the part. Else you made equal to 1.
Yeah.
So
So okay, cool.
if it's not included, if not include like Europe, all of number of countries should become 1. I understood like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's equal. And
Give me 1 second. Do not pay attention to this one. Okay. So basically continents. Okay, so let's take an example for this one right here. All right, so let array is equal to this one. And as I said, we're trying to find something like this. Okay, let me grab this for loop. And we do have constant frequency count object. It's just empty object. Okay, so right over here, I will just grab this guy over here. Instead of array, and it's going to be array I. Okay, so in the first loop, right? In the first loop, I'm checking, do I have anything in the object? Do I have anything in the object? I don't have anything in the object, right? So for that, this one will be false, and we're jumping to the else part, else block. And in the else block, the only thing we do, what? We're just putting, for instance, array I. In this case, it's going to be 1 as a key, and as a value, 1. So my object became 1 is equal to 1. Do you agree? In the first loop.
yes.
Yeah, and in the second loop, 2. I'm taking 2, okay? In the second loop, I became 1, and I'm taking in the index 1. So I'm checking it again. Is in array index 1, which is 2, does my object contain 2? No. Okay, then else part. It will run the else part. So now it will come down here and put another one, 2, as 1. What happens in my index 2? Now, I do have 2, okay? Right here, is object contains 2 as a key? Yes. Then just increase the number by 1. Now it was 1, now it became 2. Now key became 2. Same thing. Do I have 2? Yes. Okay, then just increase by 1. Now it became 3. Now what happens 1 in that loop, right? Index 3. It checks. Do I have 1 in my object? Yes. Okay, then increase this by 1. In the next one, again. 3. In the next one, again. 4. How about 3? Checking. Do I have 3 in my object? No. Then just put 1. Put 3 and then put the value as 1. Is it clear a little bit?
Little bit, yeah.
All right. So console.log, in the end, my object will look like this. Okay. So 1, we have 4 of them, and 2, we have 3 of them, and the 3 have 1, and the 4 we have 1, and 5 we have 4 of them. So since we have a nested loop, right? We have the first level data, which is all numbers. But if you have objects, okay, if you have objects, and inside the objects, if you have the key value that's an array right here. So this is our object, and inside the object we have value. We have a key called continent, and that is contains a value array. That's why we have to loop through this array. Now, when you look through this array, we're checking every single item inside that array. Do I have Europe in my object? No, I don't have Europe in my object. So this is going to be false. So we're not running this block. We're running else block. And as an else block, we're just saying, okay, go to the object and create a key called Europe and assign the value 1. All right. If no questions, we can jump onto restaurant menu. Are we clear here?
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Just a second. Let me just make a picture, please. I'll just, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, excuse me, Azamat. Just to clarify, I did this this homework. I created first set, so data structure.
Yes, you can definitely do that. Yep.
To get
Yes.
okay, yeah, to get all the continents, it's 6, 7 continents, and then created another array where getting that continent's name and countries. So yeah, I did the kind of 3 steps.
Right.
3 steps kind of solution. First, I got continents. Second, continents plus countries, and then I counted everything in the third step. So you using that kind of set data structure, is that okay solution?
Of course, definitely, yeah. As long as you
Okay.
find, as long as you find the unique names of continents, and based on those names, you can loop through the continents again, right? Or the second solution would be, right? So
Yeah, because it was challenge to for me to find unique continents using this for loop, but you did with this else equal 1. Yeah, it's a good solution. Yeah.
Yeah. So how about this? So this is the first loop, right? Basically it's gonna be n square. Okay. So time complexity wise, it's gonna be n square. But if there was only one for loop, it's gonna be just n. But since we have nested two for loops, it's gonna be n square, and we don't know what's the length of the data, and we don't know what's the length of country continents. So the second option would be just maybe all continents that concat data I continents. Okay, what am I gonna get the all continents? Array 0. What I'm trying to achieve from here is that create a giant array that contains every single continent that is recorded for all of the countries. Okay, basically it will be multiple duplicate data. Okay, multiple duplicate data, etc. And then in the next for loop, right over here, once I get the basically this guy right here. In the next for loop, I can go over this all continents, okay, and then check the continent names. Okay, in this case, it's going to be the two for loops. It's not a nested, but it's two for loops. So this one is n, and this one is n. So n plus n is still n. Okay, basically, we don't know the length of these data, the length of these all continents. So it's going to be a 2n, but it's still, at the end, its time complexity will be n. But if you do in inner for loops, it's going to be n squared. Okay, so all continents that concat data I dot continents.
Is that n square? So you mean it's gonna be the same for, so if we do separate for loops or nested loops, it's gonna be the same n square or no?
Well, in here, it's not going to be n squared. We're just trying to we're trying to grab the data from the countries, right? Individual country, and then push that arrays
Yep.
into all continents. All right, so what am I missing here? Why am I clicking that? Oh no. A is equal to 1. Okay. A dot concat. If I put B, what's my A? Am I using the concat a little bit wrong? No. So the continents is an array. Data I continents. Oh, okay. So when we say concat, right, it is actually doing it because it's not changing the original all continents. Okay, and what we can do here, we can basically all continents is equal to all continents that concat data. Right? This is what I was trying to say. So it's not modifying the original data array. It is just creating a new array, and we need to reassign the new created array back to all continents. Okay, so basically in the console, this example was working fine. If we said a dot concat dot 2 3, as a result, we were getting 1 2 3. Okay, but this is a new array. It's not modifying the original. If I check the original array is still a1. Okay, so once we get, right, that's what was the first, nested loops were first option. Once we get all the continents, like there's it's gigantic, right? A lot of duplicate values. So we can loop through this array, just like we did in the numbers array. We can check if the object contains every single name. If it is there, just increase by 1. If it's not there, then create that key and assign the value 1. This is with 2 for loops.
Oh, okay, okay, makes sense. Yeah, so we don't need to count all the countries, but all these continents, which belongs to countries. Okay.
Right. So I would say that another option would be, okay, so since we stopped for a long time on this issue, unique continents. And as you were saying, right, Kai, we can create a unique continents with what new set. Well, in this case, we still have to loop through it though.
Yes.
Okay, so we still have to, I think we still need this data. We still need this for loop, and as soon as we get all continents, we can do all continents. And as instead of all continents, let's check the unique continents. No, that's not what we want. For loop, all continents that can cut data continents. As soon as the for loop ends, I guess we don't have this spread operator. So new set all continents, and these are the continents, only 7 continents in the data. All right, so based on these unique continents, I think you can loop through the original data again and go through each country and see if that well, anyway, that's I think I would like to see how you did with the new set, right? So that's another option. Let's just not stick to this homework. Let's just take a 5 minutes break, maybe 10 minutes. How you guys want?
Yes, 10.
Yeah, thanks.
Let's
Thank
take
you.
10, and then we'll take a look into restaurant menu. All right. Before we dive into restaurant menu, continue working on a restaurant menu. Last time you guys were seeing some issues with the functions that were assigned to the buttons. Okay. For instance, over here, if we click the button, add to cart is not divided by 2. Oh, I don't have a function. Don't have a function, but all right. So we have a button on click, and it's just a script tag without the type module, right? And it is working fine. And as soon as you put the type module over here for the script tag, then our function will stop working. One of the options, as I was saying, is put window.add card, and it should work fine. Okay. The other option would be remove. Well, let me just do this. So the other option would be just remove the function from here. Okay. And then call the function over here, btn, and a document that query selector button. And then btn at event listener, click add card. Okay, so we have a regular button without any functions attached as a click event, and we are calling that, we're reaching out to that button, and we are adding a click event, and now it should work fine. So this was the same issue when we had a function like this. Okay, no buttons over here, but we are creating a button. Constant btn is equal to like this, right? We're creating a button, and we are adding that button to document.body append child btn without any event listeners. Document.body append child btn. Oh, okay, not like that. So when you do, as I was saying last time, when you do append child or append, we were supposed to create an element with document.create element. So we cannot do this one. What we can do here, inner HTML plus equal to btn, right? Like that. And still, add card was not working properly when we do this one. So you can either do this to add the function, right? Or just like we did call the button right over here. As soon as adding to the body, we need to call the function, call the button again, button 1 in this case, and then add event listener. In this case, of course, we need to remove this event. Okay, this is important when we have multiple buttons over here, right? So it's important when we have multiple buttons and we would like to add we have multiple buttons. Okay, usually we were adding these buttons with the for loop, right? So in case of a restaurant menu, we were adding these buttons like script. So we were adding buttons like this. Okay, so in this case, it's not gonna work, or it's not gonna run this filtered category data. And instead of that, we need to remove this on click, and we need to loop through the I mean, we need to call all the buttons again and add event listeners like this. Okay, we need to call all the buttons like this and add event listeners. So let's just check it out as an example. Oops. Okay, so back to our restaurant menu. What we did up until now, you guys have the latest code, right? It's in the remote -v. Is it not? So that should be the exact same code like GitHub repositories. Okay, so restaurant menu starter. And in the script file, we had this one. Right? So what we did last time was create menu buttons. And we add a custom class to be able to tell which button is being clicked. Okay. And then we created the menu data. Okay, we created the menu data. So every time I click the button, now if you guys can see right here, filtered category data is not defined. It is complaining about this function right here. Now the first option was add this one right here so that it will work, right? Breakfast, lunch, shakes, dinner. Or what I was trying to say is that instead of adding this window filtered category data, we can also do, we don't need to have this function, right? Now we are adding buttons already, right? And we are running this for loop. When we run this for loop, we are basically adding those buttons into our menu labels container, right? Menu labels div. Now right outside, we can create another for loop. But before we create the for loop, we need to make sure we get the buttons, these buttons. So outside the for loop, the first for loop, we will already have buttons placed in the UI. Okay. So since we have the buttons already, we can reach out to the buttons again. Menu buttons is equal to a document that query selector and with the class menu label. Okay, with the class menu label. And again, let I menu buttons. And then right over here for each button, we can put at event listener. So menu buttons at event listener. It's going to be click event, and we can run filtered category function now. So filtered category is just printing out target.inner.html. Query selector menu label. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Well, we have a bunch of buttons, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons. If you do query selector, it's going to select only the first button, right? Because of that, we need to query selector all. Okay, so now menu buttons is an array, and it contains all the buttons. So if I click all, it's just printing out console.log event that targeted inner HTML. I'm clicking this button and I'm looking for inner HTML of that button, which is all. Breakfast, lunch, shakes, dinner. So as you guys could tell from filtered categories right here, okay, filtered category data for each button, what we are trying to do over here, when I click breakfast, I can go through the data, right? I have original data that contains a lot of information. I can go through this data, right? And then based on the button click, whichever, for instance, if I click breakfast, okay, if I'm clicking breakfast, this event that targeted inner HTML becomes a breakfast, and I can go through this data and filter out the menu data that has category of breakfast. Okay, the category of breakfast, and I can filter out that data and create menu data. We can regenerate our UI. So what was the create menu data was doing? Create menu data was basically resetting the menu container over here. And then based on the filtered data or original data, it was generating the menu items in the UI. So if you provide less menu data, it will reset the menu container and it will generate that amount of data that you have inside your menu data. Any questions here? So
Azamat, excuse me, menu data is generated by that filtered function, right?
menu, no, create menu data, it's its own function.
Oh, okay, so on function, but it's gonna, so
And then
but we are
initially-
sending parameter from that filtered, right, to here.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Initially, we're running this function over here, right? Create menu data.
Okay,
And initially, it's just taking the data. And we have only what? 10 data inside.
Mhm.
This area contains 10 data, 10 menu data. Okay. So we need to display all of them. Now we have all of them. Now, as soon as I click breakfast, I should see only probably like 3 of them. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. When I click filter the breakfast, I'm filtering out the data that has category of breakfast, and then I can run the function again. But in this case, I will be running that function inside my filter category, and as a menu data, I will be sending only 3 items inside the array. 1, 2, 3, but those are objects. Okay, and in the UI, I should only see 3 items over here.
Okay,
Right?
when you call breakfast, it's gonna invoke that filter function and filter
Yes, let's
function
assume that.
ending
Yep,
there.
let's assume
Okay.
that. Let's
Yeah, do we need to use if else statement here?
btn name, okay? Event that targeted inner HTML, btn name, okay? And then so let's let breakfast is equal to array. Okay, I'm just doing as an example. I will be clicking on the breakfast, okay? And then you need to run a for loop. Okay, for loop. If instead of categories, it's going to be data. If data I that category is equal to breakfast, right? We push into breakfast array. Push that data into breakfast array if it's equal to breakfast, okay? And then as soon as we out of the for loop, now we can run create menu data based on breakfast array. Okay, now if I click breakfast, now I have only 3 items. All right, so this is working only for breakfast. But what about others? Right, what about others? The only thing needs to be changed is right over here. That's gonna be btn name. Now btn name is capitalized, right? When we were placing it, we capitalize it. So if when we are getting inner HTML, it is returning us all with capitalized versions of these button names. So for that, we can just do btn that to lowercase. Okay, or we can just place this lowercase right over here when we're grabbing this inner HTML. Okay, and now we should have the smaller versions. Okay, now if I click breakfast, if I click lunch, there's 3 lunch. If I click shakes, there's 3 shakes. If I click dinner, there's only 1 dinner category. If I click all, what happens if I click all? Do
Yeah,
I
that
have
was my
a
question.
category called all? Do I have a category called all?
No.
We don't have a category called all, right?
Okay,
So
then
for
we
that,
need to do else.
instead of creating this breakfast, let me create filtered data. Initially, it's going to be empty array. All right. And then right over here, I need to check. So I created a let btn name event that target that inner text or inner HTML to lowercase. We're good with that. And then right over here, I need to check if, all right, if btn name is equal to all, what's going to be my filtered data? It's going to be original data. Okay. If it's all, I would like to display all of them, right? If it's not all, if it's something else like breakfast, lunch, shakes, or dinner, then my filtered data would be this one right here. Okay, so the filtered data would be this one. And then we are sending this filtered data. Okay, breakfast, lunch, shakes, dinner is working fine. As soon as I click all, now all of my data is back.
And can you show me some, please? You removed on click from button and create another one.
Yeah, so for each button, this is my event listener, right? For each button, we did what? We created filter category data function. And that function runs every time I click any of these buttons. And that function generates an event. That event contains whichever button you clicked, it contains inner HTML. Okay. And then we're basically, but when we are getting the inner HTML, inner text, or text content, they are capitalized because when we are placing these buttons, we did what? Capitalized name. Okay, we did capitalized name. When we were placing these buttons, we were basically capitalizing these like this. All right, that's why we are doing what? To lowercase. We are trying to make the lowercase button names because our data contains the lowercase category names. Okay, so we are getting the button name, whichever button we're clicking, and based on that button selection, we're trying to identify what kind of filtered data we should shovel into create menu data function, right? Initially, when we are initially starting the application, we are sending the data, create menu data, and the data is original data, all 10 items inside the data. And we are just generating that data. But when we filter, when we are trying to filter it based on the button selection, and we are filtering right over here. But we're asking if the button is equal to all, then take the original data back again. Okay, so basically this is create menu data is the data, original data. But if the button is not equal to all, then loop through this, loop through the data.length and filter out that data, that category matches this button name. If it's matching, then we're pushing that data. If it's matching, pushing. If it's not matching, then we're just ignoring and going through the loop again. Breakfast. Now, the button name is breakfast. Is the button name all? No. Then come to all and come to else block. In the else block, we're checking. Is this first data category equal to breakfast? Let's say yes. Okay, then push it to the filtered data. Is the next I1. Is the next item is equal to category button name breakfast? No. Then do not push it. Just go to the next data, next data, next data. Okay. Most of the time, I prefer creating a function for this one. Okay. So filtered data is equal to, let's say get filtered data, a function. Okay. Get filtered data, a function, and we can either pass the data, right, plus btn name. We don't have to pass the data because we're just grabbing the data from all the way to the top. Okay. And then right over here, function, get filtered data. All right. We need to have a btn name. And of course, we need to have the constant new array is equal to empty. New array that's push after loop, return new array. Okay, that's going to be exact same thing. So we're running this function, and this function basically does that. It just filter out the specific data that matches the category of btn name, and it just returns an array, and we're just reassigning that filtered array back to filtered data. Any questions here?
Yes, but the line 29 window, what is it? Is it some method? It's like calling the function or what?
So window is an object. It's the parent of the document. Okay, window is an object. It contains a lot of built-in functions, etc. Okay, and we also have document. The document represents what we have inside our index.html. Right? Document represents what we have inside. This is also object, but this document represents what we have inside our index.html. Even if you don't have index.html pop it up, we can still over here as sources, for instance, we will still have access to delete draft, for instance. We will have access to window prompts. Okay, for instance, alert. Hello. Okay, hello. This alert belongs to window. It does not belong to document. So window is a parent of a document. It's the top parent in the browser. But the document is object, and it's the parent of everything that comes inside our index.html.
Okay.
A document is basically this HTML, because when we were doing, what we're doing, document and that body, and we're doing append, child or append. Okay, that's why this body is the child of HTML. Right, we have a head and body.
Azamat, is it so? Window is a whole browser or only one tab?
That's the whole browser.
The whole browser.
Yes.
Okay, it means inside the window we can switch from one tab to another tab.
We can, yes.
Okay.
But in every single tab, in every single window, we will have access every single function that window object contains. Okay, for instance, clear interval, clear timeout, confirm, right? So if I opened, if I can access the window alert in this browser, in this tab, I can go to this tab and open up sources and create a new snippet. I will have access to the same window. Okay, and be able to access Windows that window objects methods. Right, so do not focus on window yet. What we are trying to do over here when we are using, so the question was, is
Yeah,
it
what did you
here?
want to get?
Right here?
Huh?
Yeah, so we're trying to say that if I do this one right here, now I do have access to this window filtered category inside my window. So if window dot filtered category. Okay, and it says this is the function.
Okay.
Right, we are creating basically a custom method and assigning to filter category data, and whenever we click everything in the window, like in the UI, since we assign it a new function to the window itself, right? That's the function it's being generated. That's the function it's being executed, actually, right? Executed when we click the tabs. So that was the option for us to go around when we have on click and when we are generating the buttons in this way, and when we have on click functions attached to those buttons, and it was not working. Our JavaScript file was not recognizing this filtered category data event function. Because of that, we were when we do this one, our JavaScript file will have access to the window object, and we're creating a new filtered category data for our window and assigning the existing function for that function, and now we'll have access to that function. But we already ignored this option and basically called those buttons and loop through those menu buttons, and we were adding event listener for each button this way. Okay, so I need some ideas. Okay, I'm clicking breakfast, but my green background is not changing for this this button. How do I do that? And I need to do something inside my filtered category data, right? I need to change the background to green. How do I do that?
Yeah, yesterday we did was adding and removing class list and the name of the class name, active menu BTN.
Yep, that's the way we can do that. So what we can do here is that here's our thing, right? When I do this one, oh sorry, this part only. I apologize. When I do this one, I have all the 5 buttons, right? And the first one, of course, are all has active menu BTN. Okay, what I can do here, I can call the same thing, this one right here, right inside my filtered category data. Okay, right inside my filtered category data. All right, menu labels, and go over each menu buttons. And instead of add event listener, what I can do here, I will try to remove the active menu BTN. I will try to remove the active menu BTN. So right over here, right? The one in the index 0, since I have selected this one right here, if I do this 0, that's going to be selected 1. And if I do dot remove, okay, we do have option say dot remove, but of course it's not going to be dot remove. If you do dot remove, it will remove the whole button. We're not looking for that, right? If you do this to remove, it will remove the whole button. Now all button is gone. We don't want that. What we can remove is the class list. Class list. Class list. As you guys remember, there was 2 options. I mean, there was 3 options to add a class name into an HTML tag. Class list was one of them, right? When we were adding, we were doing class list add and the class name. For instance, active. But in this case, we are trying to remove. We are trying to remove let me refresh. Okay, we are trying to remove this active menu BTN. For that, we need to do class list remove. Just like we add the class, we can also remove the class with active dash menu dash BTN with remove function. The class list has add function and remove function. If you put add, it will add the class name. If you put remove, it will remove the class name. Now we have active menu BTN for all, right? And I'm selecting this all, and I'm trying to remove the class name. As soon as I run this, the screen background should disappear.
I think you need empty space. It was problem yesterday. Oh,
No, we're good now. It removed. Okay. If I select the first item, I'm selecting this first item, which is what? Breakfast. And if I say add class list add, now breakfast is added. All right. So I called my menu buttons, and when I'm looping through it, I'm trying to remove the class list from each button, right? We have to loop through these menu labels first in order to find which one has active menu button, right? We have to loop through this. And then whichever has the class list active menu button, we need to remove it. Active menu BTN. All right. As soon as we removed from all of them, now we are clicking this breakfast, and that is event.target. Okay, event.target, which we are clicking that button. So for that, we can just do event.target target dot class list add active menu btn. We are removing all of them, but since we are clicking this function, right? This button, breakfast in this case, we are trying to put the class list back into that click it button. If I don't put this one right here, okay, it's all. If I click breakfast, now all of them, they don't have active menu btn. None of the buttons have what? Active menu btn. But I'm clicking this breakfast, I'm clicking lunch, I'm clicking shakes, dinner. Those are evented targets. Lunch, breakfast, those are evented target, and they have classes, right? So we're just putting it back. We're removing from all the buttons first, and then we need to put it back, the active menu button, to the click it button. In this case, so all, now breakfast, now lunch, shakes, dinner, all. Any questions? Please ask right now if you have questions.
Yeah, I just forgot. Did you delete the event listener or not?
From
So that you deleted.
over here.
Oh, it's different function. Oh,
Yeah, so
oh.
create many buttons, BTNs is a different function, okay?
I
And
understood everything wrong.
create menu data is different function, and we are working on filtered category data based on the button selection.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
Well, I feel like it's kind of crowded, guys, over here, right? What I can do here and create utils.js file, utilities, okay? And then grab one function at a time. For instance, I would like to grab this guy right here, get unique categories. Okay, get unique categories. Grab this and put it inside export function, get unique categories data inside utils.js file. All right. And when I'm exporting it, and when it comes to the importing it right here, I can do import get unique categories from .utils.js file. And it will do the same thing. Okay. Now we're just minimizing the code right now. I can do the same thing for get filtered data. Put it right over here, export function, get filtered data, but btn name. In this case, we don't have data in this file, right? That's why we need to pass the data over here too. And of course, when we are calling this function inside our script.js file, we have to do what? We have to pass that data. Where am I get filtered data right here? That's the function. So I need to pass the data too. Okay, get filtered data. Now, breakfast, lunch, shakes, dinner. It's all working fine. Same thing with the capitalized name. Just grab this guy, utilities, export, export, function capitalized name, and come over here. Capitalized name and save it. Where are we using this capitalized name? Control F, right over here, right over here, and right over here. And everything should be working fine after we save the files. Okay, so we have fewer code in our script.js file, and everything else was exported in from utils.js file. All right, so if no questions, shall we do this search part? You guys ready for the search part?
Yeah,
Do you
Yes.
guys
Yeah,
want to
let's
take a
search.
break or what? Or we're good?
we're good.
Yeah, let's take a break.
Let's
How about we take? I mean, let's just go by 5 minutes and we can take a break. Okay, so I think we still have some time to take a break.
okay. Uh-huh.
All right, so we do have a search over here, and it says what? Let me go back to index. Search right here. That's the ID search. Oh no, we have an input right here, search input, and we already got it into our JavaScript file. So all the way down right here, I would like to say search that event listener. Okay, there's multiple options we can work on the search, right? Of course, we definitely have to have what? A function and event, just like we are doing with click events. So for inputs in JavaScript, someone has a question? Okay, yeah, let's just keep going for another 5 minutes, and then we'll take a break. All right. So in JavaScript, we can either put input for inputs. We can also put change for inputs. But specifically, what we are trying to do here is key up. Okay. What I mean by that is, for instance, right here, Fanny. As soon as I type Fanny, my UI needs to be updated right away. Like it needs to filter out, right? As soon as I type a Fanny, it needs to filter out the menu data that contains either in here or in the description. Okay, either in the title of the menu or in the description of the menu. Right? For that, we have another option, which is key up.
Don't we have type like something?
Type,
Yeah, like type event listener. Hmm.
HTML input, events, type. We have input event. What else do we have? Input. Oh, key down, key press, key up. This is what I was trying to do right here. I don't think we have focus on.
So key up checks if we type something, right?
Yes, key up will check.
Specifically the same.
Yes. Okay, that's the thing we're looking for. I mean, we can also do the change our input too, but for the purpose of what we are trying to do is key up works perfectly fine for us. So as soon as we do key up, event that target that value, okay? As soon as I type Fanny, right? When I type F, my function works right away. If I type A, my function is working right away again. Anytime I type something, my function is being invoked right away. So based on this text generation, what I can do here, I can filter out, as you guys can guess, right? I can filter out the data that contains this type of input text and then run this function again, create menu data. Right? At the end, I will run this function again with filtered data based on the search query. Right? So for that, let's just create let filter it. Let's see. Let filtered search data. Initially, it's the array. Right. So as you guys can tell, right? Even if I type something like empty string, it is console logging it, right? So we need to avoid that issue. Avoid that issue. How can we avoid that issue, guys? Let's just create constant value is equal to. Now, if I type just the empty space, this will be empty and there will be a problem. In order to avoid that, we can run trim. We can run trim. Okay. Now, as you guys can see, it's trimming. And my console, sorry, my console log should display what? Just like empty string. So right over here, I can put if statement. Let me type if value not equal to empty string. If value not equal to empty string, then console log the value. Okay, I'm typing right now. It's displaying the value. But if I have empty string, it's not console logging because we are trimming it. When we trim it empty spaces, it becomes empty string. And we don't have else bar, it's not going inside. So as long as we type something in there, like space, key, now we are console logging it inside our if block. But we're taking out these white spaces on the right side, on the left side with the trim function. So right over here, if value is not equal to empty string, then filter out my data. Or let item of data, as you guys know already, for of usage. Okay, and then right over here, I need if else statement again. If, okay, all right, because every single item has what? Title and description. Title and description. First thing we need to do, item that title that includes, okay, item that title that includes a value. We need to convert this to lowercase. Right? We need to convert this to lowercase. If you don't convert to lowercase, if you type something like capital letters, it will not find it. Okay, if you type something capital letters, it will not find it. For instance, I'm trying to title, right? I'm trying to find the pancakes. So if I type pancakes, as you guys can see, my console log is not working. But if I type pancakes, my console log is working. Hey, right? It is working 8 times. So we need to ignore the cases where we type, sorry, let's refresh the page. Pancake. See, my console log is not working. So we need to ignore these type of issues. For that, we need to do value that whatever we're receiving as a value, we can do to lowercase. And again, we can definitely do this one in here too, right after we are trimming it. Okay, pancakes. Now our console log is working. So if it includes, right, then we need to do a filter search data that push push that item. If that item includes that one, then push that item. At the end of the for loop, right? At the end of the for loop, oh, I was supposed to put this one right over here, guys. Sorry. At the end of the for loop, right, inside our if, of course, can run. Since we already have it over here, let me grab this one, put this one over here, and then send out filtered search data. Okay. Now, as you guys know from create menu data, it will remove whatever existing data that menu container contains, and then puts the new data. Right? Let's test it out. If I type pancakes, that's the only two of them. That's the only one. Okay.
As a matter of here, we can hear you.
What is that?
Oh, I thought
Oh,
YouTube.
no, 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 no. I was not talking, right? So it's a 707. As soon as I type pancakes. So what happens if so right over here, if it's empty value, okay? If it's not empty value, then filter out, right? If it's empty value, what can we do? Create menu data. Just put the data back. Okay, so it is filtering right now. If I type salvage, oh, sorry, we were going based on the title. Sorry, double, right? Diner double. Okay, Oreo dream, and it will bring back. If the value is empty, just run create menu data. If it's not empty, then search based on the value. We can also include the description, right? Very simple. Right over here, item.title that includes value, or item that description desk includes value. Right? If I type bitters for breakfast, bring it back. If I type MLK, both of these contain MLK. Any questions?
Yeah, about the trim. Can you please explain what trim does?
So the trim, yeah, the trim. Let's say you type something like this, and MLK. Okay, and there's also why it's putting dot, I don't know. There's also space after MLK. Okay, like this. There's space on the left side, there's space on the right side. Now, what a trim does is that it takes the whole string, okay? It takes the whole string like this, MLK. And then when we trim it, it will remove the white space on the left, white space on the right. And as a return, it will just return MLK.
So she just
Also,
does accept the space, right?
it will just remove the white space. If you have something like this key, it only removes the left and the right side. The resulting will be like this. It only removes from the left side, from the right side. It will not remove whatever you have down here.
What if you will write the two words which accept this data, but you will give 3 empty spaces? Will he find or not?
You want to type exactly the same thing like blue bottle?
Yeah, but you put 3 empty space between these two words.
Oh, no, between, if you put between them, then it's not gonna find it,
Okay, that was my question.
right? If it's finding, but if you put space, it's not gonna find it. It is only removing the white spaces, like I said, on the left side, on the right side. That's it.
So I got it.
But as soon as you put space in between, there's no such a thing, and it will not show any data.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. No questions. Thank you very much.
All right. So if I have something like this, is this the oh, let's take a break, guys. Let's take a break. 5 minutes break. How about that? Because we have a lot of stuff to cover. All right, let's take a 10 minutes break. I think we exceeded the time. I think we'll spend a lot of time deciding.
If you finished, can you please push this project?
Absolutely. So I need to connect it back first. First, I'm going to stutter. Okay. Latest code is there. Okay, guys. One more thing left for this project. As I was saying that if I type something, right, it looks weird in the UI. What I want to display over here is a paragraph that says no data found if the data is empty or empty array. Okay, or there's when we filter, there's nothing is found among these menu items, right? How do I do that? Basically, that is happening when we are creating what? Menu data, create menu data inside this function right over here. Okay, right over here. So let's assume that data is not coming from here, and let data is equal to empty, right? Data is empty. Of course, if the whole data is gone, our buttons will not display too, right? Because our buttons depend on the existence of the data and the category names, right? So what I was trying to say is that if no data, right over here, menu data, It depends on what we are trying to enter into this data. Create menu data. Right over here, let's say menu data is equal to empty, right? Like that. There's nothing in there. Okay, because menu data is empty. What should we do in that case? In that case, we can wrap the whole thing, right? We can wrap this for loop. Put the limitation over here. If
why can't we just add in a div no data found paragraph? Because it's kind of empty and we don't have any elements inside. And then when we like adding some elements, just removing the paragraph.
okay, we can definitely do that. So where do you want to add a paragraph, like inside index HTML right here?
Where we have items in container, right? It's
It
in
is a container,
container.
yes. So right over here, you want to add paragraph, no data found. And I think I have a class name called no data. Well, we cannot do that, right?
Why?
Because inside our menu create, for instance, like this, it's appearing like if I refresh, I see the no data found, but it's disappearing because right here. Every time we call this
Oh,
data, we are resetting it, right? So when we call menu container, initially we have this one, class no data paragraph, but as soon as I run create menu data with the data, this function, what it does, it resets whatever the container contains, and then regenerates the function, regenerates this menu data in the UI. We don't want that. If the data is empty, okay, we want this paragraph to be appear over here. What I was thinking is that take this whole for loop, right, and put if statement right here. Okay, if menu data dot length not equal to 0, right, or by itself, right? If menu data dot length. Since you guys know that if I put 0 down here, there will be a coercion, right? Console.log. Okay, so yeah, it's not appearing, right? If I put something, let me put this one right here. Okay, it's not appearing anything. If I put something other than 0, for instance, and then I can see my console log. If you put 0, that 0 means if menu data is empty, right? If the length is 0, all right? So we should do the opposite, right? If the menu data is not empty, right? If the menu data is not empty, run the for loop and generate the data. Okay, so let me remove this one. Menu data that length. What am I missing here? What am I missing here? Menu container. Did I reset my files? No, data is file is there. Index. It's not gonna work. We're not looking at the menu, create menu buttons, create menu data. If menu data that length not equal to 0. Oh, what am I looking at? So this is basically the same as this one, right? Not I put the not, but if it's I mean it's not gonna be making it, right? If it's true value, not true means false, so we're not running if block. So we were supposed to do just menu data.length. Okay, if it's not empty, it will run this for loop like this. If it is empty, then I would like to put inside my menu container inner HTML, menu container inner HTML. Ooh, the p tag only. I want the p tag only. This one right here. No data. This one. Oh, okay. So I need to put the backticks because we already have these double quotes, right? Since we have double quotes, I could have put single quotes too. It's fine too, right? Since we already have double quotes. So if it is empty, then display paragraph which says no data. And if I type something, no data found. Bring it back. So let me bring this menu data empty array. Now, no data found. No data. Okay, so how about you guys work as a team, additional functionalities into this? What happened here? Okay, into this restaurant menu project. I mean, there can be additional, we can add additional functions to this one, right? Something like this. Okay, so initially we're displaying all the items, just like what we have right here. But for each menu item, I added a button, add to order. And also, in addition to these menu buttons, I added an order card. Okay, and when I click it, it should display order card. It is basically what it is doing is it's taking out anything inside the menu container and putting this div and no data found. Okay, all. And if I click add order, since I have 0 right here, right? This is basically a span with the position absolute, and I put it to the top minus 10 pixel and the right minus 5 pixel or something like that. Okay, if I click add to order, now my number is changing. If I click multiple times, that number is changing. And if I click order, since I click it this menu item only 5 times, now I have 5 times. If I go back and if I click this diner double 2 times, now I have 7. This country delight 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Now I have 10 items. And if I click order, now 5, 2, 3.
That's
Right?
cool.
If I click remove, pay attention to this number and pay attention to this count right here. If I click remove, now this become 4, this become 9. If I click remove this one, this become 1, this become 8. And since if I click one more time, since it's gonna be 0, right? There's no need to show this item in the order in the card. So we'll just remove this item. It's gone.
I think it's more like a React project.
Yeah, I mean that's true. We can definitely do it with the JavaScript too, for vanilla JS. Okay, you guys think you can do it?
Yes.
I think in 25 minutes.
No, no. In 25 minutes, no.
We're just adding the key listeners, right?
Do we need to do something new to create it, or we covered everything what we need?
No. Whatever we have right here, you just need to make some modifications. That's it. Since
Because I
we are
don't-
already creating menu buttons right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right over here, after this for loop right here, we have all these buttons, all dinner, shakes, lunch. In addition to this menu labels in your HTML right here, you will just create another button, and that will be our order cart button. Okay, something like that. All right. So when you create that cart button, you should have some sort of add event listener and function, and you can call that function whatever you want. Right? Display cart, display order cart, display shopping cart, and when you click that display shopping cart, you should do exact same thing what we have right over here. We need to remove container and try to display the same, pretty much the same thing, right? Just copy paste from this create menu data, but it's the difference is that in our data we don't have button right here, add to order. That's the only difference you need to add over here, and that additional button down here, add to order.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know about other guys. Like in my case, I need to spend like 1 hour to scan to understand everything what we wrote already.
Yes.
After that, I can make something new. So right now, I don't even have an idea how to start it. So yeah, because we added like 3 new things to our project, and I understand when you explain something, but I can't keep the previous thing. I don't know. It's my problem. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Should-
it's definitely cannot be done in the next 20 minutes. I want you guys to think about it, right? Just try to have some idea what kind, I mean, some options, ideas how to implement this type of approach. Okay. If you can do it, that's fine. Good for you. If you cannot do it, well, at least you tried, right?
we can
If
just
you cannot do it, what I want you guys to do is just go over what we did up until now and try to understand the logic. Where is it moving? From where is it moving? Okay, from where to where? And what we are trying to do in every single step. First of all, we're creating menu buttons, and then we're generating the menu data. And then what we are doing? What we are doing next? We are clicking the buttons. Based on the button click, we are filtering the data. What we are doing is search. When we search, okay, when we search, we're looping through the data again, right? But first of all, we are trying to make sure that whatever we type as a search query, we're trying to make sure that we don't have white spaces on the left side, right side, and we're trying to make sure that that type of search query is lowercase it. And based on that search query, we are searching from our data, title and description. And if it matches, right? If it matches, then we are pushing that item inside our filter search data and then running this function again. Now, as you guys can tell, this function has been run in multiple places. First, initially creation of the application, then in the search bar, right? Search section, then in the filter section. Now, if you don't have that function, you would be creating this in multiple places. Please try to understand which function is going where. Oops. Okay. This is just additional functionality for you guys to try to understand how we are creating this, how are we changing this number when we click this number, and how are we generating this number right here. Okay, so besides that, I was thinking about doing this project right here. This is one of the projects that I really enjoy doing it. Have you guys seen this project before?
No.
This is a really cool project. And I'm hoping to do it in the next class. I share it in the Zoom chat. It's a really cool project. we can do it in the next class. It will require you guys to understand local storage in JavaScript. Okay, there's multiple storages that we can achieve what we want in our websites. And one of them is local storage, and the other one is session storage. Right? I'll try to explain it in detail in our next class. So let's do this project in our next class, Monday, and the Wednesday we're gonna
You have really cool animations, by the way, with the X and like you adding transaction and it's like appearing your X button.
where is it?
No, you add some transaction before you have to add
Oh,
on the website. Yeah,
I see what you're saying. So yeah, so in here,
it's really cool.
yes, absolutely. So the text would be, for instance, grocery shopping, right? So for the grocery shopping, enter amount. Amount, it says negative. If you put negative, that's an expense, right? You spend $200 in grocery. This is how you put it. You put your expenses as the minus, and you put your the income just plus or just by itself. If I do add transaction, it's going to be minus, and that's going to be expense minus. It will go to minus expense, okay? Minus 200. So if I put income, right? Let's say $10,000 per month. Good for you if you earn that much money, right? Plus a transaction. Now income is 10,000. My balance is basically income minus expense, and income is entered as plus 10,000, and it's green because it's income, because it's positive number. If it's red, it's red. And I can also remove these items, right? Click, click, and these numbers are changing.
What if you add like the 100 of the transactions? Or are you displaying just a 5 or 3 of them?
It will just display over here.
No, like if you have like if you add like 100 or like 7,000.
Oh, that's a good one. We need to try that. Yeah. Good one, good one. Yeah, I mean, you want to see how it looks like in the UI?
Yeah. Like
Mm.
it's gonna be scrolled to the bottom.
Probably, yeah, probably. I mean, in that case, we can put we can put overflow Y hidden to this.
Oh yeah, okay.
A little bit scrollable right here, right in the middle, and we will not scroll all the way down to see the add transaction. Okay, it's
Yep.
really cool. It's really cool application.
How did the buttons appear? Or oh, you had JavaScript. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot.
JavaScript, just
Yeah.
like that, JavaScript. Yep. Okay,
Could we try it by ourselves to do it?
you can definitely try it. I shared the link in Zoom chat.
You used the local storage, yeah? And
I
session.
use local storage, and yeah, so I have all the UI good to go for you guys. Please take a look into the UI first. But in JavaScript side, not so much. I just grabbed the things that I need from index.html. Okay, and then I should have that link for you guys too. All right, here's the link. Okay, that's the starter code for you guys. I wish that we had a chance to finish that up today, but I think we spent a little more time on the homework first and then restaurant menu.
Okay.
So what do you guys think about this functionalities? Should I expect you guys finish it until next week, maybe?
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, we can.
Could you share the like the code you
Sure.
have?
Which one?
I mean the restaurant, right?
Restaurant, okay.
to check it. Yeah.
Oh, it's in the chat. I think did I put it? No, I did not. Okay, so
Could you share it by the files? Like it's easier, I think, or not copying the whole message.
so basically, if you go,
Yeah, you can just git pull.
yeah, git pull right here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I got it. I thought you're gonna like send it to the Slack.
yeah, I mean it's gonna be too big.
Yeah, yeah.
Because oh wait a minute, I don't have maybe I should not did I push the paragraph? No. Oh, I did not push my latest code. Okay. So what we have here is yeah, this one. Hmm. 1 second, guys. Right over here. Git add, git commit, new change, git push. All right, you can pull the latest code. Okay, so yeah, if you guys don't mind, we can finish earlier.
Yep, no problem.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Very much.
Okay.
I'll
Thank you
try
for
to
your class.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
good
much
day.
for joining the class, guys. I can stay additional 10 minutes if you guys have any questions. If you are really struggling, please stay in the Zoom and ask the question. Okay, there's no stupid questions, please. Other than that, have a good night, guys. For those who are staying, please stay here.
Yeah, thank you, Azamat. Yeah, have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you for the class.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.